Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video and another episode of the match reviews for this season's Big Bash season. So let's go straight into it. Obviously, we had the three matches, obviously, in between this whole entire week, obviously, because, of course, we had the test at the West. Had the flop, that was the West test between Australia and Pakistan, which spoiler alert, Australia absolutely obliterated Pakistan. So we'll go with the match that was on. That was on. I believe it was. I think it was last Wednesday. Last Wednesday. I believe it was on between the Melbourne Stars and the Perth Scorchers. Then after the week's break with the West Test and that, then we returned in style with a thriller at the Adelaide Oval between the Adelaide Strikers and the Sydney Thunder. A complete contrast to when the first time they played last season, which we all know how that happened. And then the game last night between the Perth Scorchers and the Hobart Hurricanes. So let's get straight into the first game, which was the Melbourne Stars against the Perth Scorchers. It was the Stars' first home game of the season, the first game at the mighty MCG, and as you guys know, I'm a Melbourne Renegade. I'm a Melbourne Renegade supporter. Speaking of Melbourne Renegades, actually playing tonight as I'm recording this. They had a shocker. Just put it that way. They had an absolute bloody shocker to start off with for their first two games. They had an absolute shocker with the bat in their first Big Bash game, in the first Big Bash game of the season against the Brisbane Heat at the Gabba. Pretty much worse here. So the Scorchers won the bat flip, and not surprisingly, led to the bowl first. From I think what I heard from the commentators, because I watched it on Channel 7, it seemed like to me, I think two pace type of pitch was the word that was the phrase that was pointed out to the pitch that was playing that night at the MCG. Sam Harper, the openers, Sam Harper and Tom Rogers went out to bat. Sammy Harper, he didn't last long. He only went out for he went out for only one in only the third ball in the innings. Went out for only the third ball in the innings. And then of course it wasn't until the second over where Big Bo Webster hit the first boundary of the match. And then soon as after he hit the boundary, soon as afterwards he hit that first boundary of the match, he skied one out to deep third man. Sky went out to deep third man for 4 off 6, and instantly they were already in trouble there. But by this stage, obviously the Stars were not in trouble yet in their innings, but they were going along all right. They weren't doing spectacularly, but they were going along all right. Of course, they ended the power play 2 for 30 at a run rate of 7.5 and over. A couple of overs after the power play ended, Tom Rogers was next to go off the back of Stephen Eskenazi catching it on what is it, the 5th attempt. Juggled it. Yeah, I thought he was going to drop it for a second, but no, he regabbed it after 5 attempts of catching it, and he was gone. Obviously, He was gone for and he was gone. That, and it was Cooper Connolly's first big bash wicket. What an amazing 12 months it's been for him. You know, being a big winner, being the hero in the Big Bash final, and now getting a wicket, and obviously now going to be a regular player now for the Perth Scorchers. And why wouldn't you be after hitting your team to another BBL premiership, to another BBL trophy? Yeah, you got to be regular fixture in that side. Anyways, so yeah, and then of course it wasn't until, and then it didn't take until probably the 6th over, but it was for the first 6 to be hit in the match, and that was from Hilton Cartwright. Just completely said, welcome everyone. I'm just gonna hit my first ball for 6. Thank you very much, and I'm gonna have a strike rate of 600 after my first ball. So thank you very much for that. Acting skipper Marcus Stoinis, obviously, as we all know, Glenn Maxwell had to pull out of the match because of injuring his slight injury to his forearm. He'll be back for their next game. And by the way, injuring his forearm in a rare sort of incident, really, while he was batting in the first game against the Heat. He had to miss out this game because of it. So Stoinis came in as the acting skipper. He didn't last long. He was caught behind for 13 off about 20. Not behind for 13 off 20 from Jason, off the back of Jason Berendorf getting his second wicket. And it wasn't long before next guy at the crease, Nick Larkin, was next to go for what I call a bronze duck, for a third ball duck. He also he was caught. He was also caught in behind the stumps as well. This time was caught at slip by Cooper Connolly. On the second attempt as well, so it was just like Eskenazi's, but he this time caught on the second attempt this time. And by this stage, the Stars were in deep trouble at 5 for 49. By this stage, which they stumbled towards halfway at 5 for 55 at a run rate barely under a run of ball, about 5.5 and over. But straight after the drinks break, it was pretty rare, pretty aggressive, to be honest. Straight after the drinks break, the Stars immediately activated their power surge, which clearly, by the sounds of things, it clearly did not work. It clearly pretty much did not work, really. To be honest, even though they got 16 runs and only conceded the one wicket from it, that was Jonathan Merlo scooping one straight into the quality gloves of Josh Inglis for 5 or 6, and they were going at 8 runs and over in their power surge. So it was all right, but it was more of the case that in the short term it was good in terms of their power surge, but in the long run it didn't look good anyways, and I'll explain that and I'll get to that in a bit. And by this stage, their last hope, Hilton Cartwright, obviously he was going very well at 24. Until he skied one straight down the throat of, I think it was square leg, I believe it was, and you can hear immediately when he hit it, he was like he knew straight away it was going to go straight to a fielder, and of course he was their last remaining hope, really, last remaining hope really for them. Usama Mir, the Pakistani, went out there. Only lasted the solitary one ball. He was knocked over for a golden duck. Hamish McKenzie, who by the way took his first wicket by getting around the Cartwright. Suddenly he was 2 in 2, and 2 weeks and 2 balls, and 2 weeks and 2 balls, and suddenly, just within a blink of an eye, the Stars are 8 for 79. Suddenly enough. And then soon it was 9 for 80 when good old AJ Ty knocked over Joel Paris, and by this stage the end was near for the Stars, really. But full credit to Harris Ralphie with 8 or 16. He was, even though they were 9 down and getting bugger all runs, he was going for a swing straight up. Liam Dawson, he was their sole hand, to be honest, in the lower order with runner ball 22. And then of course led to Harris Ralph the last wicket, the fall. Sky one out to Nick Hobson for the last wicket, the fall, and suddenly in the 19th in the last over, the Stars were bowled out for 101, for a paltry 101, to be exact. So exactly 119.1 overs they were bowled at 101, I should say. Cartwright with 24 off 18. Tom Rogers with 22 from 17, and of course Liam Dawson, the runner ball 22, not out. Were the only three standout batters in a very, very sorry lot, to be honest. Jason Behrendorff as well led a absolutely fantastic bowling performance from the Scorchers. You could see why they're the 5-time Big Bash champions. They're not they're called that for no reason, to be honest. And speaking of Scorchers, I'll explain more about it in a bit when I explain what happened last night. So yeah, then obviously, he obviously left in front with 3 for 28 from his 4 overs. By that stage, the Scorchers only needed a paltry 102 runs from a required run rate of 5.1 overs to condemn the Stars to a second straight drubbing. Let's put it that way. I would say defeat, but I would say drubbing, just to kick it into the Stars supporters, pretty much, because I'm a Renegade supporter. So yeah, so it got a slow start, obviously, for the Scorchers, obviously, because obviously they're chasing down 102. They don't need to frigging chase down the run. They don't need to be like New Zealand when Brendan McCullum was captain back in the day, and pretty much they'll get to that target within like 7 overs. About that, the first 6 was hit off the back of Stephen Eskenazi. It wasn't, and then Cooper Connolly had a bit of an entertaining cameo. Obviously 20 off 9 until he was caught from a great catch from Hilton Cartwright. So the first wicket went down. The Perth Scorchers ended their power play at 1 for 36, going at 9 and over. So at this stage, you're going to get to that total very easily, extremely easily, anyways. And then soon Eskenazi was caught in the deep for a runner ball 25. Then soon afterwards, Aaron Hardy was also gone, caught at backward point for 20 off 15. And that was legit the last week of the fall, and the only major thing to come out of this game, because obviously I think it was Ashton Turner and Ashton Turner and Josh Inglis led them home in the end, just knocking the ball around pretty much for all those bits there, and reached the target with 6.1, a massive 6.1 overs to spare. Eskenazi top scored with a run of ball 20, as I said, with a run of ball 25. Osama Mir was the sole bowler to bowl out his 4 overs with figures of 1 for 22. With young Hamish McKenzie getting man of the match in a very, very good bowling a spell of leg spin bowling with 4 overs, 2 for 12. Which is absolutely bonkers for a left arm leggy, to be honest. So in the end, Perth won by 7 wickets and finally got on the board after that sort of kind of farcical match against the Melbourne Renegades at Geelong, which I still hope that one of the Melbourne Renegades home games will be rescheduled to GMHBA, hopefully. Let's put it that way. So the Stars obviously, we all thought that last year, the last couple of years, it can't get any lower, but it has gotten lower. And to be fair, I'm not surprised, to be honest, because they're only relying, like, look at the Scorchers, for example. They're not relying on one person in particular. They're not relying on one bowler to get a wicket, or not relying on one fielder to take all the catches. They're not relying on one. They're not relying on one batter to score all their runs in the first innings or in a run chase. It's just and the Stars have right now. I think for me, I think they're now starting to realise that getting the stars like obviously Maxwell, Coulter-Nile, Stoinis, used to have Zampa, all these big names that would play for the limited overside for Australia play in the Melbourne Stars. I think they're benefiting, and with the fact also that Glenn Maxwell, he's aging. He's in his mid-30s. Don't forget. He's in his mid-30s. So, he's on the wrong side of 30. So, heading towards the wrong side of 30. And for me, the last couple of years have proved that some of the youngsters that they have picked up, they're no good. They're no good at all. They're no good at all. They either haven't contributed, or the Stars just simply don't want to give them a go. That's their problem right now. That's their problem right now. That is why, to be honest, I wasn't happy, to be honest, with the fact that the Renegades got Zampa, which is happy because obviously we're getting a fine bowler who played very well for Australia in the World Cup. But that's why I didn't like. Just imagine, for example, instead of Sam Harper, they got Jake Fraser McGurk, who's absolutely killing it right now. He's an actually good youngster. Actually good. He's starting to become good as well at 22. Starting to. They could have added. They could have added him into the equation. Could have added, or the Stars could have at least requested him and say, look, we're looking for. Or we could have perhaps let him go, but we've given him a chance that he's probably, and judging by the first game against the Sixers, he's probably taken it by the scruff of the neck. But that was an opportunity for them to basically get a decent youngster into their ranks that they can build around, and they didn't. or instead, they brought in Sam Harper, and and I know it's early days, but in the first 2 games, he's flopped. He's flopped. Like, I'm sorry, but he's, it's just a shame, really, that he's a guy who, at his best, is very talented. So is one of the more talented keepers around the Australian domestic scene, and more than likely to. And he's a very innovative. He's a very, I like to call it T20 batsman. Like there's T20 batsman has the innovative shots. You can tell. I think he got out to one. I was talking about this game with the Scorchers. He got out to one then. So it's just a shame. Every time he goes to the Stars, he flops. Probably when he goes to another club, he's great. So but I thought basically, we could have kept him just to add more depth to our top order, because our top order last year absolutely struggled. Moving on. Of course, we had a long break with the West Test, which obviously ended in Australia absolutely thumping Pakistan, which I wasn't surprised over, to be honest. I mean, if you're conceding 400 runs against a PM11 side, you are going to be in trouble. And sure enough, in the West Test, they did. And Australia took full advantage of that. So we had a week's break, and then the other night it returned, obviously, with the match at the Adelaide Oval between the Adelaide Strikers and the Sydney Thunder. Obviously, we all know one of the last times it happened there. Excuse me. Excuse me. What happened one of the last times between these two sides played out, the Thunder may not have been bowled out for 15. But let's just say it doesn't really, that doesn't really happen. The Sydney Thunder, of course, won the bat flip and elected to bat first in what was described as a very good batting surface. The ball came to the bat very well, and it proved pretty much in the very first ball of the match, where Cameron Bancroft hit a beautiful cover drive through the covers for 4, and then Hales. It was pretty strange, actually, from Hales. It looked like he had the motive of hit out or get out. To be honest, he was hitting sixes and that sort of stuff. Hit the first 6 innings in the second over, but then didn't last long. Obviously, got knocked over by Matt Short, who was magnificent in the all-round performance, with both ball in the field and obviously in the bat, which I'll talk about later. We'll get in a bit. And then afterwards, Matt Gilkes got caught in slips for a golden duck, which is not a rare sight for Matt Gilkes. He had a hell of a lot of those early last season, and he's got another one again. But despite those 2 wickets, and with the fact that Bancroft was still there, looking back at it now, this reminded me of the Heat's performance in the opening game against the Stars, where pretty much they were between the 9-10 runs and over sort of thing all throughout the sittings. To be honest, which you probably had to do, obviously, if it was a very good batting surface. To be honest, very quickly the 50-run partnership came up between Bancroft and Ollie Davies, obviously 31 balls, but that wouldn't last long, because obviously Oliver Davies will try and hit up and over cover, but unfortunately it brings it straight to cover for 32 off 17 deliveries. The Sydney Thunder would reach halfway at 302, going at just over 10 and over, which was a great for them. Then as well. Then Bancroft had another 50-run partnership in the same innings. This time it was with the sweepologist himself, Alex Ross, or as we like to call him now, the coverologist now, as the Channel 7 commentators preferred to him, especially Flemo, especially David Fleming. And then obviously, and then the Thunder took their power surge at exactly the right time in the 13th, 14th over. Like I don't know in different circumstances what's the best over to take the power surge. To be honest, it looked maybe towards the 13th, 14th, maybe is the edge towards the death overs. Maybe that's when it'd be good to take it, pretty much. I think the 11th and 12th overs, the Stars proved it was too early to do it, and for some probably 8th, 9th over, maybe a bit too late, to be honest. But yeah, or for Chris Jordan wise, perfect timing, as I'll get to that in a bit. I'll get to that later. Just as Alex Ross, of course, the sweepologist / coverologist, was about to also reach his half century, he was knocked over by Wes Agar for 46 from 26 deliveries. It was a fantastic innings, really. With the Thunder ending their power surge at 1 for 24, going at exactly 12 runs and over in their power surge. Daniel Sands, who had an injury scare, first ball running between the wickets, obviously fell over, obviously sprinting to make his ground. Thought it was going to be a bit of a groin issue, but nothing sort of happened really there. He got caught in a date for 1 off 2. And then obviously, then Cameron Bancroft's brilliant innings of 74 came to an end, being caught in the deep in the end. For 74 off 54 balls. And then the last wicket to fall in this innings was Nathan McAndrew with an entertaining cameo, holding in the deep for 22 off just 10 deliveries in the end. And then the Thunder managed to end the innings on exactly 7 for 200. So Cam Bancroft, obviously the top scorer for 74 off 54 with 4 fours and a 6. With Englishman Jamie Overton, both the Englishmen and both Overton and Payne also had very good Big Bash debuts. Obviously, Overton was a standout one on his debut with figures of 2 for 29 from his 4 overs, which left the Strikers in need of 201 to win their first game of BBL 13. At a required run rate of just a tick over 10 and over. By the way, and I wonder. I need to for someone plays who knows the Big Bash clearly well. Put the comments down below if I'm right here. Of course, Matt Shaw hits the first boundary in innings to the first ball. I don't know how often has the first ball of each innings in a Big Bash game gone for 4. Pretty rare sight, obviously. And then also, we had to wait till the 4th over for the first 6 to be hit in the innings, which is also off the back of Matt Short as well. Obviously, his new opening partner in Darcy Short, no relation anyway, who also was making his Adelaide Strikers debut. And and these two were motoring along. Let's put it that way. They ended the power play at none for 46 from which they were going at 11.5 and over. It was just they were just absolutely containing everybody at the Adelaide Oval and also the commentators as well, including me as well. Matt Shaw, the 50 partnership as well was brought up in super quick time in 27 deliveries between the two shorts. Soon afterwards, Matt Short quickly reached his 8th BBL 50. Can you believe it? 8th BBL 50 off just 30 balls, hitting 4 fours and 3 sixes during that innings at that time. Soon afterwards, it took 8 matches. It took 8 matches, but finally had our first 100-run partnership. Which between the two shorts was 58 deliveries, and let's just say they were not done yet. Let's put it that way. So they've reached halfway at 904. They still, despite them going at just a tick over 10 and over, they still required 97 runs from the last 10 overs to win. At a run rate just under 10 and over. Let's put it that way. So they still had a lot of work to do. But before that, unfortunately, Matt Short, his innings his incredible innings. It looked like he was on his way to another big bash 100. He unfortunately, got out for 82 off 41 deliveries. One of the best innings, one of the best BBL innings I've ever seen. To be honest, it looked like he was never going to get out. To be honest, he was. I mean, the sixes that he hit was just absolutely sublime. To be honest, then of course the other short in Darcy. Reached his BBL 50, his 21st BBL 50 off 48 off 36 balls, with only 5 fours and 2 sixes in that innings. I think it's the first time he's probably raised the bat for a while, because I don't think he did throughout the entirety of last season. I believe maybe it was 2 seasons ago. Yeah, but this is the reason why that he went to the Strikers, obviously, to regain that opening batsman role. Obviously, he lost it over the last season or two at the Hurricanes. That's why he went to the Strikers, and obviously he's doing well. Got off to a good start there. Darcy Short, unfortunately, was then given out LBW. He later reviewed it. Unfortunately, the review was unsuccessful, meaning that his innings came to an end on 66 from 47 deliveries. Shortly afterwards, the Adelaide Strikers took their power surge at the 17th over. They were heading towards finishing off this run chase, anyways. And it looked like with Chris Lynn there, it looked like they were going to head home until the Pakistani slinger himself, Salman Khan, decided, I'm going to make this game a lot more interesting and knock over Insanity, and just knocked him over. It was a great delivery. And it even surprised me, to be fair. I was like, oh, hang on, this is game on now, to be honest. And despite that wicket, obviously they ended their power surge with 1 for 27, which that we're going at 13.5 and over. And obviously the game went down to the last over. There we got some comedy running in the end from Jake Werrald. I know it was probably to get Adam Hose on strike, but But yeah, just a bit of a rookie error move, really. Just and immediately when the stumps hit, I thought he's out here, because I saw from the naked eye, it's like his foot's not grounded and his foot's not grounded and his bat is in the air, so that's gone. He's out, and sure enough, slow motion replay, he's gone, and everyone's like, "Why didn't you ground your bat, Jake?" But yeah, but he was gone for 5 or 4. But in the end, it worked because Adam Hose just decided that he just went bang, bang, bang to win the game, for them, reaching the target with 2 balls to spare. To the roar, it was like 27,000. It was like 20,000 people down the Adelaide Oval the other night, and when Adam Hose hit that 6 down the ground to win the game, it just felt like it was at 40,000. It just lifted the roof off the stadium. It was fantastic, really, to see. Of course, as I said, the strikers with 4 for 205 reached the target with 2 balls to spare. The two opening batsmen in Matt and Darcy Short, obviously, of course, led for the front, with Matt getting 82 from 41 with 5 4s and 6 6s in his innings, and then Darcy with 66 or 40 from 47 balls of his with 4 4s and 2 6s of his own. Really, that set the tone, really, in that run chase for the strikers. Tanveer Sanger was definitely the Thunder's best bowler, with 1 for 33 from his 4 overs. Not surprisingly, Matt Short won the man of the match, won the player of the match for his very breathtaking knock. As I said, one of the best innings I've ever seen in my time watching the Big Bash, which has been a fair amount, and yeah, so no doubt about that there for them. In the end, obviously, the Strikers winning their first game of BBL 13 by 6 wickets, and I believe that means that that's the Hurricane, not the Hurricanes, the Thunder, I believe, are two losses from 2 games. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, 2 losses in 2 games for the Thunder. So yeah, that is not bodes well for bodes well for them. Obviously, and yeah, it's a game. And to be honest, even though it's a batting pitch, it was a game that they all they needed to do was bowl well in the second innings, and they didn't do that. And it's a very entertaining game. I mean, 405 runs were scored in this game. It has to be a contender for one of the games of the season for me already. To be honest, it was a fantastic game, fantastic batting, and a dramatic finish as well. So yeah. Moving on to the final game I'm going to discuss in this video, that is the game that was last night between the Perth Scorchers and the Hobart Hurricanes. So the Hurricanes, of course, they won the bat flip and elected to bat first, which some might say was a bad decision in the end, because obviously not before Caleb Jewell hit the first boundary of the match. For 4, coming up in the 5th ball of the first over. Then obviously his following partner Ben McDermott was caught at third man cheaply for only 4 or 3 balls. Then Sam Hain came to the crease and was hit with an absolute beauty first ball by Jason Berendorf. Given out LBW, it was plumb as plumb can get, to be honest. I just immediately said it's getting Mill stump halfway up. That's how plumb it was, to be honest. And Berendorf almost got the hat trick in the end. If it wasn't for the inside edge, it wasn't from an inside edge from Tim David's bat. That if it wasn't for that, then probably would have got a hat trick. And it was a clear inside edge too. And still, I love the fact that there was still it was a clear inside edge, and the teams and the Scorchers fielders and Jason Berendorf still made a loud appeal, as well as the fans as well. Love that really. So yeah, but after Tim David hit a couple of boundaries, he was the next to go. Caught a deep backwards square for 12 off 8, giving Berendorf his third wicket of the game. Giving his third wicket of the game. Then it was the first ball wicket for the wild thing in Lance Morris, who got Caleb Jewell caught in the slips for 12 off 11 deliveries. Suddenly, just like that, as I get the scoreboard up here. Suddenly, just like that, they were in deep trouble at 4 for 70, at 4 for 28, in the fourth over, mind you. So yeah. Then of course, not long after that, Corey Anderson was next to go. He was caught. He was caught in the deep for 8 off just 16 deliveries. AJ Ty getting the wicket there. And then a Cowdery came in, and it was a very good partnership in between he and Mitch Owen, who they got a 50-run partnership in the end with off just 34 balls, which was a very good partnership there. Until Chowdhury got it was the fourth victim of the Dorf. Was the next victim for the Dorf. Got 4 wickets. Got his fourth wicket. There was Jason Berendorf in a very good bowling display. Soon after that, Mitch Owen mistimes one. Mistimes one straight down the throat of big Aaron Hardy for Ashton Agar to get his first wicket. Obviously, good to have him back after the injury, which kept him out of the World Cup, Australian World Cup side, which eventually won the World Cup. So yeah. Now and then of course the ends of the power. Of course, the Canes took their power surge in the 17th over, and then now we enter the Chris Jordan segment, because he absolutely decided that no, this game's not over yet until it's over, and he decided to whack things out of the park. And even on commentary, they said even the mistimed shots, they were going for 6 for Chris Jordan. He was in the zone in front of his old home crowd there, because he used to play for the Scorchers once upon a time. And he even hit, and this is how rare it came. It took 17 overs for the first 6 of the match to be hit off the back of Chris Jordan, mind you. And the next ball after that, he has 6. So 2 in quick succession, really. There, the Hurricanes, off the back of Chris Jordan, they got to none for 33 from their power surge, which had a lazy 16 and a half and over during their power surge, which has to be a best power surge for the batting side wise in this tournament so far, probably. And then soon we all thought, the extra fielders are going to be out. Chris Jordan, he's not going to maintain that. Well, he did, and he managed to get to what I think, in my opinion, is the most. I'm going to say this now. The most shocking and most incredible and unexpected Big Bash 50 I've ever seen. Off 17 balls as well, I might add. With 6 fours and 4 sixes in that knock, which is outrageous in the end. So yeah, unfortunately, his innings came to an end on the last ball in the innings. Obviously, it was caught. Obviously, it was a free hit for him. Must have been the last ball. To be honest, and he was caught at the day for a very entertaining 59. And I said it got here 59 from 20 deliveries. Obviously, he led. Obviously, it led from the front. Obviously, the 63 out of the 63 runs they scored in the last 4 overs, 59 of them was, as I said, 59 of them were from Chris Jordan. So, which was outrageous in the end, and because of that, at one stage probably the Hurricanes were going to struggle to get to 140, 150. They got to 8 for 172 in the end of the day, which was outrageous in the end for them. Jason Berendorf, obviously, the shining light for them with the ball, for the Scorchers with the ball, taking 4 for 25 from his 4 overs. This left the Scorchers to require 173 runs, which was about, let's be honest, about 20, 30, maybe 30, maybe 40 runs more than probably what 20, 30 runs more than probably originally they were going to chase. Originally they were going to chase maybe somewhere in between 130, 140 after the Canes were 5 down for bugger all. Now they're in a match now, obviously. Obviously, the end of the first over, obviously, the new recruit for the Scorchers in Zach Crawley, who also, I think a season or 2 ago, used to play for the Hurricanes as well. He hit the first boundary of the innings in the first over, and then a touch of unluckiness from Cooper Connolly. Got a top edge onto his helmet, and it was caught at I believe it was at mid wicket. I believe. I think, so it was caught for 5 off 7, and at this point, Hobart Hurricanes supporters, you might as well switch off this video, because all of this is probably per Scorchers highlights, pretty much. Soon the 50-run partnership came up between Zach Crawley and Aaron Hardy of just 26 balls. But not without its dramas. Obviously, Zach Crawley was given out, but it was reviewed. But fortunately for him, the umpire gave it these. I thought basically more the squeaky bat thing, where basically, but I didn't know where the umpire got the sound from, to be honest. But but it was given not out, and it was the review from Crawley was successful, and they, fortunately enough, was changed to not out in the end. So the Scorchers, they made it to the halfway mark at 1 for 92. And despite this, they were still requiring further 81 runs from their last 10 overs, which, by the way, both Crawley and Aaron Hardy were doing it pretty much with ease, really, to be honest, throughout all of this innings. Soon afterwards, the Zach Crawley reached only his second ever Big Bash 50 off just 34 balls, with 5 fours and a 6 at that time added to it. As I said earlier, it took 8 games for the first 100-run partnership of the season. Sooner rather than later, we got two in 2 nights, with the 100-run partnership between Crawley and Aaron Hardy off 59 balls. Which at the same time as it was brought up, Aaron Hardy also brought up his 50 off 31 balls with 3 4s and 2 6s for himself. As I said, these two just kept on motoring along. They bought before the win was brought up. They brought up the 150 run partnership off just 80 balls. It was the first time. And apparently, I heard it was the first time in the history of Big Bash games being played at Optus Stadium in Perth that the 150 run partnership has been achieved by any wicket. And not surprisingly, they cruised to the victory. That cruised to the victory. Won it by 9 wickets. And got to the target with about 3.5 overs to spare. Of course, Zach Crawley obviously ended things with 65 from 46 with 6 4s and a 6. While Aaron Hardy, of course, led from the front, obviously could have won man of the match for his 85 or 45, hitting 4 4s and 5 6s. But obviously, the man of the match was obviously Jason Behrendorff, obviously for his spell of 4 for 25 from his 4 overs. The sole hand was, not surprisingly, was Chris Jordan in a fantastic all round display for him. He was the only guy. He picked up the sole wicket, obviously, of Connolly, and was very good. It was very good amongst the Hurricanes bowlers, which was pummeled all over the ground by Crawley and Hardy. Obviously, with Jordan getting figures of 1 for 25 from only his 3 overs, obviously, to go with his 59 from 20 deliveries that he produced with the Willow. Before I get out of here, I want to mention about the Scorchers. I mean, there's a reason why they're the 5-time Big Bash champions, and there's a reason why that they're the reigning champions, and there's a reason why they're going to be champions again, and they're champions again. And it's obviously it's going to happen. I mean, the NRL this year, obviously, we all thought Penrith were going to make it 3 straight in terms of NRL premierships. They did that, so why not the Perth Scorchers? Why not? There's. If you look at their score compared to others, they're the best. By far. No other team in terms of depth and quality is in their postcode. Nobody is in their postcode. Maybe the Sixers are close. But other than that, nobody else is in their postcode. Nobody else. I mean, their bowling attack of Ty Richardson, Behrendorff. You got the spinners in Ashton Agar. Unfortunately, Hamish McKenzie, who got man of the match in the game against the Stars, he was left out of this game. So there's more depth there. You got Eskenazi was left out obviously because of Crawley being in, obviously coming back from the West Indies tour for England. So and obviously, of course, you got Lance Morris, who was obviously in the West Test, being with the Australian Test side. Obviously got Mitch Marsh in there as well. And then obviously, of course, obviously the batters as well. Other batters as well. You got Inglis, you got Turner as well. Who else is there? I'm trying to get up who was in their side. Obviously, and I forgot about obviously Turner. Obviously, he got injured. Obviously, hopefully, and he'll be back for their next game. I'm going to try and see their side at the moment. So you can see here. So obviously Hardy, he delivered. Obviously, you got Laurie Evans as well. Of course, you got Nick Hobson as well, who was one along with Cooper Connolly, was the main reason why they got home in that most amazing Big Bash final we've all ever seen. Yeah, Big Bash fans, I'm sorry, but I think we get it. That BBL trophy is going to be coloured orange again. We cannot deny it. It's gonna happen. And how appropriately I just said the Scorchers in the next game they're gonna play against the Melbourne Renegades. Oh, we are screwed. And it's at Perth as well. We are screwed. We are absolutely screwed. If we win this game, it's we might as well qualify for finals just then and there because because we've beaten the best side and beaten the best BBL side of the last 13 years. So that's for me the Scorchers are pretty much the team to beat really on this front. So that's the end of this video. Check back tomorrow because I'm gonna do a video. It's because the other day, obviously alongside of the Adelaide Strikers and the Sydney Thunder game, there was the IPL auction as well, which crazy money was given out at the IPL auction, which I'll go to in depth, obviously team by team who bought which team bought what player as well. So like this video, share this to anybody who's a Perth Scorchers, who's a Perth Scorchers fan or an Adelaide Strikers fan. Comment down below. Do you think the Perth Scorchers? Do you think the Perth Scorchers are going to curd stomp the league again this year, or do you think someone else is going to steal their crown? I'd love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. And lastly, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labelled subscribe. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later, and wherever you may be, may the sun or the moon shine on you. The freaking orange tsunami is going to be freaking going ballistic this season. Just might as well just give them the Big Bash trophy. Give the Scorchers the Big Bash trophy while we're at it. It's outrageous.